In this video, we're going to talk about an action plan for financial freedom. Cue the intro. All right, so there's always a lot of talk about financial freedom, and becoming financially free is one of the main goals on many people's agenda and many people's minds. So how do we get there? How do we set out on that course and actually achieve the point where we are financially free? Well, in this video, we put together an action plan to step you through that process and actually take action, because you can't do any of this stuff without taking action. So the first action to really take is really clearly define what your monetary goals are, or your goals of financial freedom. Really define what those are, because that may be different from person to person. Like, some people may want to just be making, $200,000 a year as their goal of financial freedom. Some people may be wanting to move into passive income. Some people may want to retire. So depending on what your financial goals are, or what your idea is of financial freedom, really write those things down, really clearly define those things and put them in front of you so that you can see them and tangibly see, hey, this is what my end result is going to be. This is what I want to achieve. Knowing what you want to achieve is a very powerful place to be in, because then it can move you to the next step, which is identifying the habitual changes that you need to make in your life to get you from point A to point Z. And that's a huge thing that we often overlook, is really taking those steps and really going through those habit changes, because it's all about your habits. When you're trying to get to a point of financial freedom, or just achieving any level of success in anything, you have to sometimes change what you're doing habitually, or at least understand when you are doing something habitually that may be adverse to what you're trying to achieve. So really clearly defining those habits, looking at the things that you've seen other people do that were successful in whatever you're trying to be successful at, understanding what those habit patterns are, and adopting those ones in your life that will get you through and step you through that process. That's a very, very good step to take to start moving you to the next phase of what you need to do. And that is implementing changes that actually move the needle in your life. And I say actually move the needle because oftentimes we start doing things, or we set out on courses that we start to see all of the possibilities. We start to learn about different ways to get to where we're going. But in that, we start to sometimes get off track and go down courses that are not moving the needle in our lives. So it's very important that you understand what things are actually moving the needle in your life, and really start to double down and focus on those things. Like, if you find something that is working, that's actually moving the needle and getting you where you want to be, start to focus on that more, and really, dig into that thing and do it more, and make it habitual, make it a part of your value proposition, and make it a part of the habits that you keep. And a huge part of that is the next step, which is accountability, holding yourself accountable for those things. And I know it can be a hard thing to do that sometimes, specifically when you are first starting out and learning new processes and new patterns. You don't want to be down on yourself. You don't want to get to the point where you are doing things that you are not used to, and you start to feel like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. How do I get to here? How do I jump these steps? How do I stay? And that's what happens. We start to think, how can I jump over some steps to get to where I want to be without having to go through all of this other stuff? But you have to hold yourself accountable for the steps that you need to go through. That accountability is what's really going to start to get you to the point where you're seeing your own progress and feeling good about your own progress, because you're going through each step and you're not feeling like, hey, I'm just doing this, I'm just meandering around in this thing. Hold yourself accountable, create real actionable things that you can do and processes that work for you inside of your own ecosystem, because that's important too. A lot of times what happens is, we'll see something that is working for someone else, and then we go full bore trying to do that, and it doesn't work for us, so we get discouraged. Recognizing quickly if something's not working and pivoting is a better choice than just quitting. Never quit, just pivot. Don't quit, pivot is one of the things that you definitely want to adopt as your mantra, and adopt as something that you do on the regular. Make that a part of you. Do not quit, pivot. And to drive that in more, when you do find something that works and that you're able to do in your life for you, be consistent with that thing. Be consistent as much as possible, because that consistency is going to build you up and allow you to move into other things that may be a little bit more difficult. It's like success builds upon success. So the more you are successful at what you're doing and you're able to feel that success and repeat it, and you keep doing that consistently, once you get to a point where you may be a little foggy about something or something that you're not as good at, because you have built up that, that recipe for success in other things, it'll allow you to get through that moment and get through that thing that may be a little bit more difficult. So when you find something that works, be consistent, commit to that. Be consistent as much as possible, because that consistency is going to help you down the road when things get a little bit harder. That's a definite cheat code in being successful. People who are usually successful, they have built upon success in other areas, so that when they get to something that is difficult for them, they can move through that thing and develop that aptitude a little bit easier, because they've already built upon other success. Okay, let's pause here for a second, because I think it's important to say this before we go any further. Most of the things that we're discussing here in this video are going to require some level of effort or action on your part. So if this is your first time to the channel, definitely drop this video a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We really would like to see you back here on some more videos, join in the conversation, and definitely leave a comment down in the comment box below. And the last thing I want to add to this action plan for financial freedom is reward yourself for the progress you make. That's one of the things that a lot of times we don't really do. We get caught up in just doing and trying to get to a certain place. And I'm not saying go overboard, don't break the systems that you're creating, because that would take you backwards, but definitely reward yourself for the progress that you make. Acknowledge that you're making progress in those areas, and, reward yourself and make sure that you are always feeling great about what you're doing, and you're always feeling positive about the progress that you're making in whatever you're doing. I hope this has been extremely helpful for someone. And until we talk again, I wish you health, wealth, and freedom.